Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a way of framing worries so that you can actually do something about them. I've worked with many clients that have severe anxiety, and a lot of the time, the anxiety is the outcome, it's the symptom of intrusive compulsive thoughts, which quite often are worries. And I like to think about worries as something that in the right context is very helpful. And for me, the right context is that if you're worrying about something that is probable and there's something that you can do about it, then having this part of your brain, what we can call the subconscious mind, alerting you of something that could happen and there's something you can do to avoid a negative outcome happening is really useful. You kind of want that. If that was an app that you could download in your brain, you would definitely want to download the app of worry if it was that kind of worry. The kind of worries that really negatively affect people's life are when people worry about either very low probability things happening, and also if it's worries about things that there is absolutely nothing you can do to influence or change it. And the internal structure of a worry sometimes follows in a dialogue, and it goes along the lines of, but what if that happens? And what if this happens? And it entertains a highly undesirable outcome, which again, if you can do something about and you can mitigate, then great, that's useful. But if you can't, then you start playing out scenarios of dealing with all of the ramifications of an undesirable thing happening, acting as if it's true, in which case, the ideal thing to do, if you look at it as a chain reaction or a domino effect where one domino hits the other dominoes and creates this kind of reaction which can lead to really severe anxiety and even panic attacks, you want to catch it early. So one of the things that this hypnosis session is designed to do is to start organizing worries based on probability and whether or not it's actionable, whether or not there's something you can actually do. And as I was talking about, because I used to have lots of really intense worries, I couldn't sleep, it really affected my life. And now I don't. It's not that I don't worry, it's just that I'm discerning about my worries. And as I was describing what I naturally do, it created an image in my head of a matrix. A matrix isn't the sci-fi movie. Matrix in kind of mathematical terms is a quadrant of 4 sections based on 2 key variables. So if you look at the variable of probability and actionability, then things that are highly probable and actionable, they're great worries because there's things that you can do about that. And the least effective thing to worry about would be low probability that you have no chance of influencing. And a good example, I sometimes use it when I'm talking with clients, is I ask the question, how much time do you spend thinking about an asteroid hitting the Earth? Most people spend very little time thinking about that. And even if they did, it's not that useful to think about because there's very little that any of us, in fact, there's nothing that any of us can do to stop that, even if it was to happen. So it's not a useful worry. You're not in control of the first unconscious thought that comes to mind, but you can control what happens after that. And organizing thoughts is a really good way to start feeling control. And a lot of really severe anxiety comes from a feeling of powerlessness and that things are happening outside of your control. So even just organizing and classifying a worry based on, is there something you can do about it and how probable is it, gives you a feeling of control immediately before you can do other things. And the key strategy here is that if you can't do anything to mitigate a consequence of a worry, then your playbook move is to think about something in your life that you can do something about, because you can't hold conflicting emotions or thoughts simultaneously. So rather than fall into the trap of thinking about something you can't do anything about, why not think about something that you can do something about? So I call this session the anxiety matrix because it's 4 quadrants of a matrix. If you feel like you're dealing with really intense anxiety, I'm one of the few hypnotherapists that the reason I am a hypnotherapist is that I was crippled by severe anxiety as a teenager, and I don't have that experience now. Plus, I've worked with thousands of people with very severe anxiety. So I have lived experience, plus helped lots of other people to no longer have severe anxiety and whatever the trigger is for them. So if it feels that it could be useful to have a conversation with me to see if I can help you with your anxiety, there will be a link in the show notes where you can schedule a free 30-minute consultation call, or you can visit my website, which is adamcox.co.uk. For now, though, this anxiety matrix session may be useful for you, so find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in a resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow any feelings of worry, anxiety, or tension to melt away and feel like it's leaving your body in your outward breath. So as you breathe in and breathe out, realize that tension quite often is just a physiological reaction to a threat that isn't there. And as you accept and acknowledge that right here and right now, there is nothing for you to do other than breathe in and breathe out, and give permission for worries and anxiety to just melt away. And as you acknowledge that, realize that as you make yourself more comfortable, as your eyelids fully relax and remain closed, tension is not necessary. As the tension melts away and you breathe in even more resourcefulness, you start to think about thoughts as being either conscious or unconscious, in the same way that physical actions are the same. You can blink unconsciously, and most of your blinks are. But you can also choose to blink whenever you desire. Most of your breaths in and out are unconscious, but you can choose to breathe in deeper and out deeper whenever you choose. Most of your thoughts happen without effort. These unconscious thoughts are not within your control. And while you don't control the unconscious thoughts, you can control how you think about those thoughts. And I wonder what would happen in the same way that as you organize certain things in your life, perhaps you organize similar clothes in similar drawers together. similar paperwork all clustered together. What would happen if you started to organize worries into different categories? And to make things easy, all you need to do is to think of two key things: how probable the worry is, and whether or not it's actionable, whether you can do something about it. As you breathe in and breathe out, you start to think that every worry would end up being in one of 4 quadrants of a matrix. You would start to think, if it's highly probable and actionable, then these are useful worries. And even if it's very low probability of it happening, if it's actionable, then you could still do something. But if it's non-actionable, whether the probability is high, but especially if the probability is low, then you can recognize the improbability. You can accept the lack of control, and you can redirect your focus to those areas of your life where you have more immediate control over your choices and actions. I want you to think about how much time you spend worrying about an asteroid hitting the Earth. You recognize it's very low in probability, but it has happened before. As you accept the lack of control, that you can't do anything to prevent it, you realize your valuable time, attention, and thoughts are better utilized thinking about those things that you can influence. As you breathe in and breathe out, you could think about something that is very unlikely, like getting sick from a rare disease while traveling. And although the probability is low, if there's a vaccine you can take or medication to prepare, then why not do that actionable thing? So then you can just enjoy the travels, knowing you've done what you can do. When you think about those things that are probable and actionable, sometimes you may worry that you can get a parking ticket if you park too long in a bay. But it's actionable because you could buy more time for parking, park somewhere else, or return before the parking expires. Those worries that are actionable help you avoid unwanted outcomes. So allow yourself to feel grateful for those worries that lead to action. And for those that you can't action, feel grateful that you now have a way of organizing them. As you feel a growing understanding of what is within your control and what is not, guiding you to categorize your worries effectively. You might need to do this consciously to begin with, but very soon your mind is becoming adept at assessing the likelihood of events, helping you place your worries in the right quadrant of an anxiety matrix. You start to recognize the power you have to take action in situations where it's needed, placing such worries in their rightful place of manageable action. And you can embrace a sense of peace with what you cannot change, placing these high probability but non-actionable worries in a space of acceptance. Your mind is honing the skill of rational evaluation. You're thinking a lot, so why not think with purpose as you distinguish low probability events where action is still possible. Release unfounded fears. Feel the release of worries that are unlikely and beyond your control, freeing your mind from unnecessary fears. And in those situations where you can act, feel a sense of focus and determination guiding you to effective solutions. Feel serenity in acceptance. In the face of inevitable events, find a sense of peace, calm, and serenity in the acceptance, and focus on emotional resilience. And where there is a small chance of occurrence, but still room for action, then why not take those preventative steps and then feel good as you let go of the worry. For those worries that are out of your hands and unlikely, notice how quickly the art of letting go becomes a superpower as you get to focus on the present. Feel your mind prioritizing concerns effectively, focusing on what truly matters and that requires your attention. As you develop a mindful awareness, it helps you discern between different types of worries, leading to a calmer state of mind. As you cultivate a balanced perspective that helps in distinguishing between real and hypothetical concerns, you realize that some worries are good and useful, and many are not worthy of your time and attention. Your confidence in decision-making is growing, aiding you in disseminating worries. If you can take action, they're useful, and if you can't, you're getting better and better at releasing the worry. An inner calm is growing within you, helping you to approach your worries with a clear and composed mind. And every time you let go of a worry you can't do anything about, you are reinforcing a skill, a strategy, and a feeling of relief as you embrace the power of rational thoughts to categorize worries based on the realistic assessments of probability and control. Practice emotional detachment from those irrational fears, helping you to see situations more clearly and objectively. And you start to get better in your ability to positively reframe situations, aiding in the effective organization of your worries. Before long, within seconds, you can identify a worry, identify low probability, and know in control in influencing it, and immediately let go. If there's nothing you can do about the thing, then the action is to focus your attention on other things. you develop a harmonious balance between acceptance of what you can't change and action towards what you can, placing each worry in its right place in the matrix. Breathing in and breathing out, you feel a sense of structure, feeling the ability to tap into skills you already have, like organization and discernment, feeling that you now have a tool and strategy in which to do things with your worries so that worries don't spiral out of control. Breathing in and breathing out, return to the present, feeling a sense of optimism and empowerment. Breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. Wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Feel connected in the present moment as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken feeling resourceful, optimistic, and a sense of feeling in control about how to think about worries and what to do with them. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.